Hello there, my friends. How you doing today? Well, I'm sitting out in the front porch here. Actually, it's not really a porch. I should say my driveway. I'm sitting on a tricycle right now, so it's kind of an awkward place to sit, but walked out front and I just saw the beautiful dogwood behind me in bloom, and it's been raining like crazy for 3 days, and the weather kind of brings me down in a way. You know, I live in the Northwest and I'm used to the rain, but when spring comes around and you catch a little glimpse of what it could be like, then you can only wait and suffer, you know. It's planting season, it's time to get out and start doing things to get my garden going, and it really got me thinking about, you know, happiness today, and I just wanted to kind of pose the question of, how do you know when you're happy? You know, and it's something that I think most of us probably thought about at one time or another. We ask ourselves, are we happy, or how could we be happier? But it's really hard to define two things. First off, what we want out of life, because often we have these ideas that we want to do something great or have something great, whatever it might be, but don't know exactly what that is, and therefore not know how to work towards it. And likewise, the other aspect is, it's very difficult from a standpoint of a conscious human to analyze how other conscious humans think. In fact, consciousness is one of the most difficult things for people to study in brain science, you know, because you are conscious. You're studying your own consciousness and you're affecting the experiment by being conscious. You can't have a neutral view of consciousness. And I think in the same way, we can't really have a full grasp of what it means to be happy. You know, when we see people, you know, on television shows, I think most people know better. You know, we have this image. They're very extreme examples or archetypes. You know, the hero, the villain, and you know, the protagonist, and the journey. You know, if you're familiar with Joseph Campbell's work, The Hero and the Hero's Journey, the idea that most of these stories follow a pattern, but they're extreme examples of people. It's not how the average person, you know, acts. And we have real lives. And in other words, a movie picks out the very crucial moments of a life of a person during the story, but doesn't give you the day-to-day where a person's sitting on the couch watching television, or maybe reading a book. You know, that doesn't make well for cinema or for, you know, storybooks. So point being that we have a very false image of what people really think like, and therefore a really false image of what we could have or attain. We see others that seem very happy. They seem like they've done well for themselves. And from the image of someone who's young, and you're very impressionable, and you see people who have done well in their lives financially, and they lead you to believe that, well, if I want to be happy, I need to be financially secure too. There's something to be said about that. If you don't have enough money to survive, then you have problems, and you have to spend a lot of your energy just trying to survive. But anything above and beyond your basic needs just becomes a liability, because you can buy these great vacations, wonderful clothes, you can go on trips, and you know, have all these fun, exciting moments that make life worth living. But what's really important is the work. And that's the thing that I learned from Manly Hall, if anything, is that, you know, there's nothing wrong with having money, as long as you've worked for it. Because if you haven't earned it, if you haven't worked for it, then you're getting free energy that you haven't put any time in for. And this is why some of the people who get large inheritances end up being unhappy people, because they were never trained to work for themselves in their own mind. They never said, I'm going to have to figure out how to eat tomorrow, how to feed myself. People who have never taken pop cans back to the store for the nickel refunds. And a lot of us who grew up relatively poor, I wouldn't say that we were extremely poor. We had a home and we ate food, but I guess poor is in the eye of the beholder. I never really stopped to question whether I was happy or not. It wasn't an issue. I was young and I was living. And it's not until you're really older. I questioned, you know, all these things when I was younger, but it's not until you really get going into an established routine or paradigm of life where you have a family, let's say, and a home. Like for my example, I've got, you know, 3 boys and a wife and a home and a dog and 3 cats, and, you know, the old white picket fence thing going on. Not really, but I have responsibilities, like, you know, and if I had no responsibilities at all and I wasn't tied down, I would have maybe a totally different demeanor. But the question, you know, it doesn't matter what you can assume how you might be in a certain situation, but you'll never know until you're faced with it. I guess what I'm getting at is that I'm very grateful for everything I have, and I have pretty much everything that I would need. You know, love, security. I have my brain, my coherence, but at the same time, I question my own happiness. I question my own sanity. You know, I question my own reality. And I think that that's kind of a familiar story with a lot of people. Is the camera still going? Yep, it is. Good. My neighbor's out there. My neighbor Jerry, he's a nice guy, but if he saw me over here, he'd come over and start talking. And he's one of those people that really, he seems like he's just kind of out there. He's an ex-cop, he's retired, he's just the kindest guy. He loves my dog, Juno. And he's always like, oh, that dog, where's Juno, where's Juno? And it's almost like he obsesses over that dog. It's the first thing he asks me every time I see him, how's your dog? It's really weird. But anyhow, you know, I've been living here about 13 years, and in this house we bought it in, I think, 04, and we maybe 03 or 04, and at that time my wife and I had been together about 3 years, maybe 2 to 3 years, I don't even remember, you know. And we moved here with our son, her son. He's my stepson. I met her when he was 3 years old, and we moved up here, and we had our garden in the back. We did what we do, you know, the things that make life exciting, especially as a young couple with your first home. And then after years passed, I'm very fortunate that I'm still totally in love with my wife, and I think she's the most wonderful person on earth, that I haven't grown any resentment towards her. In fact, we've actually, in my opinion, grown closer, and I feel like I understand her more and she understands me more, and that continues to improve. But those are things that we can work on. There are other aspects that are more difficult to work on. Like financial aspect is a tough one, and that often causes rifts in people's relationships. But if you can laugh together about the absurdity of having to make money and, you know, all the little things that we have to do in life, you know, if you want to stay happy, whether in a relationship or single, whether you're working or not, you know, whether you're religious or atheist, you just have to keep going. You have to find new goals and set new goals and excitement. We need novelty in our lives. We yearn for something awesome, you know, to look forward to. Whether that be a drink in the evening, or go rock climbing on the weekend, or going on vacation once a year. But for some people, there is no vacation. Work is what matters to them. You know, work is all they do. That's their thing. I feel sorry for those people, but I shouldn't, because if they really enjoy work, then so be it. I think that that's another one of those things where we're kind of programmed by seeing other people that seem successful and thinking, well, I'd love to provide for my family, you know, that way, and take my kids on these trips and do this and that. But understanding that it's the humility in life that makes us who we are, in the moments when we are at our weakest, and that we either ask for help or get it, you know, without asking for it. Find ourselves in situations where we, you know, we just question who we are daily. I do. Question what life's all about. I'll try to film the dogwood. Nothing beautiful. And the lilacs. I'll stand up here. It's been kind of rainy today, and now it just cleared up so I could come out here and make this quick video. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you haven't, well, oh well. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon.